Hi everyone, it's Amy with the Medicine Hat College Be Fit for Life Center. Join me for a yoga session using the wall as a prop. Let's get started. So just find a seated position. You don't need too much room, just basically the width of your mat coming away from the wall. You'll definitely need to have a wall space. If you don't have an open wall space, maybe find a door at the end of a hall. Just make sure it's securely shut so you don't push it open. So let's just find ourselves sitting up nice and tall. We're going to relax those shoulders open and really stack up from grounding through those sit bones, lengthen up along the spine, have that head right in line with the spine, and we'll just take a few breaths. So just gently in and out through the nose. And you can close your eyes or just gaze softly down. Just feel that breath moving deeply into our lungs. And we're not forcing the breath, but keeping it very gentle. On our next exhale, we're going to keep that really nice open posture, but we're going to exhale and just drop our head forward. Inhale, let's roll the head over to one shoulder. And then exhale, take that head back down in the center and inhale over the other way. So just gently following the speed of our own breath, inhaling, letting your head roll to the side. As soon as you start to exhale, drop that head back down in the center, and then inhale over to the other side. Take care to try and relax through the mouth and the jaw. Just let that tension melt away from the body. We'll finish evenly from side to side, letting our head settle down in the center, and then gently stack that head upright. Okay, come up into a tabletop position. So we have our wrists under our shoulders, knees underneath our hips, and we're going to exhale, flex that spine, tuck your head, tuck your tailbone under, and then inhale, lift the head, lift the tailbone, maybe look up, and exhale, flex. Inhale, extend. And once again, following the speed of our breath, just allow the speed of your own breath to guide the speed of the movement. Good, settling into tabletop. Let's start to back up towards the wall. So coming into a child's pose. So child's pose, we're gonna have our knees wide, toes together. And you wanna position yourself so your toes are about 1.5 inches away from the wall. So you're not right against the wall, but you're pretty close. So knees wide, and we're gonna stretch our arms forward. Really spread your hands into the ground and take a nice wide stance. So as we press our hands into the ground, you're going to gently sink your bum back and just let that head rest. And once again, continue breathing in and out through the nose. Good, continue to press into those hands, and let's lift up into a bent knee downward dog. So curling our toes under, ensure that your heels are dropping back into the wall. So your toes are away from the wall, but your heels drop into the wall. And then we're gonna pike up nice and high through those hips. So as we lift our sit bones up nice and high, you're gonna press your chest open. Feel the abdominals pulling in. And if your legs are comfortable, go ahead and ground through those heels and stretch your knees. So you really feel that energy through the legs, pressing into the wall, and then rebounding up and out through those sit bones. Hips up nice and tall. Good, let's have a few breaths, resting in child's pose. So we're gonna let our arms, our shoulders have a break here. You could stack up your fists, rest your forehead, or you can let your head rest right on the floor. And just really notice the breath expanding the back of our lungs as we inhale. So feel the back of that rib cage inflating. Okay, now let's come up once again into downward dog. And if you're feeling pretty comfortable here, you can try the option of three-legged dog. So sending our right leg up high, curl your toes under, and push through that heel. So as we reach through that leg, try not to turn your hips. Keep those hips nice and square to the wall, and also resist the urge to shift forward into a plank. Instead, keep that downward dog position, reaching our leg up nice and high. Nice big stretch. Good, then we're gonna rest back down and really feel the deep flexion in our hips as we relax forward. Keep breathing in and out through the nose. Stretching those arms forward once again. Lift back up. Find that grounding of the heels into the wall, piking our hips up high, and send the left leg up, or the other leg up the wall. Stretching long through both legs. Top heel is pushing into space. Bottom heel grounding into the wall. Breathe in and out. And keep those abdominals drawing up and in. And then we're going to rest back down. So now one more option with this downward dog. We're going to have an option to come into a bit of a handstand prep. So totally optional. Make sure you're always doing the options that feel best for your body. If you try something and it doesn't quite feel right, just make sure to come out of the pose. So we can come into our regular downward dog. So you can stay here. Or if you want to try that handstand option, we're going to step whatever foot feels comfortable up the wall. Hug those forearms together, spread your hands, and we're going to take our gaze forward a little bit. From here, push into the wall, pick up your other foot, and let's just pike those hips up high. Keep breathing, stretch through your legs, breathing in and out. You can stay here just for a breath or for a few breaths. And then we're going to step back down. You're going to notice that handstand option is very energizing. So let's just let the body settle back down in child's. Okay, when you're ready, use those arms to come on up. Step one foot forward, then the other, and let's just unroll, taking it all the way up to our standing sequence using the wall. Okay, let's get started with a bit of a forward bend. So we're going to turn to face the wall, and we're going to take our hands, open them up a good shoulder width apart, and then take them from straight out in front of your shoulder, slide them down about a hand length. So we've got a nice wide stance there, and then we're going to start to walk backwards and pull our hips up behind with our knees bent. So this should feel kind of similar to the downward dog that we did on the floor. So that same piking action through our hips. One thing to be aware is to keep your feet underneath your hips so we're not leaning against the wall like this, but get those feet underneath you. And as you pull your hips up behind, you're really lengthening and extending your spine, and we're pushing those hands, grounding the hands into the wall. If your legs feel comfortable, we're going to go ahead and straighten them out, pulling those hips up and out behind. So if you straighten your legs and then all of a sudden you start hunching through your back, just go back to the bent leg with those hips pulling out long so our spine is extended. So this is a really nice stretch for our back, for our legs. We're getting that hip hinge mobility. And we're also really stretching through the shoulders, the arms, extending along that spine. Good, so a couple good breaths there. And then to come out, we're gonna bend our knees, tuck our bum under, and let's just walk towards the wall. Good. Okay, from here, let's move into a leg stretch using the wall. So once again, facing the wall, we're going to ensure that our feet are directly underneath our hips. So it might take a second to figure out your distance here, because you want to have your leg up on the wall and your standing leg straight up and down. So if your standing leg is too far back, you're going to end up leaning on the wall. So get that bottom foot right underneath you. Step up and down a couple times to figure it out. And then we're going to work on leveling our hips. And then eventually straightening out this leg. So you might not fully extend it, just kind of work with your own range of motion. And if you're comfortable, we're going to go ahead and reach those arms up high. Continue to breathe in and out through the nose. Good, let's release. Try that on the other side. So we should be the right distance away. So if you take that foot down beside the other one, we'll take our time to bring the other leg up. So again, once you get your feet positioned, let's level out through the hips. Sometimes this top hip wants to hike up and pull forward. So you want to think of pulling that hip back and down. Ground into both feet, stretch your legs as much as you're comfortable, and reach those arms up high. Everybody take a couple good deep breaths. We're grounding through the four corners of each foot. Good, let's bend that knee and step down. Okay, we're going to take it sideways and into a triangle pose. So it helps to have your mat kind of right up against the wall. We're going to take the foot that's closest to the wall and snug the whole edge of your foot right against that wall. So make sure you're not leaving a gap where your heel is, because as you start pushing, you may start to strain your knee. So you have to snug that whole edge right from the baby toe to the outside of the heel against the wall. Front foot's going to step out, and we want to work with our legs nice and straight. If you end up needing to bend this front one a bit, that's fine, just work towards straightening. And we're going to take the hand that's away from the wall and reach it up. Big breath in. Now tip away from the wall, out towards the center of the room, and just drop that hand down. So we're going to use this wall, push your foot into the wall, and feel that rebound of energy extend along the spine. If you can, let's stretch our top arm up, and you might even be able to look up towards that hand. Otherwise, keep your head straight. So just take care not to start tipping forward. We're trying to stay bent over from the hips sideways. So our whole body is in one plane of movement. Let's take a couple more good breaths. Grounding into those feet. Really engage through your abdominals, especially those obliques. And we're going to tip ourselves all the way up. Okay, adjust this front foot and then step away from the wall how it feels comfortable for you. We're going to try that on the other side. So again, snug that foot into the wall. Same thing, get that heel snug right in there. Front foot's going to step out, pointing straight up on that. We're going to take the hand closest to the center of the room, reach it up, keep yourself sideways, big stretch, and let's tip over. Good, really feel yourself pull your hips underneath and lay your shoulders open. Feel feeling those long lines of energy as you ground the back foot into the wall, straighten the front leg, stretch long through the spine, and then across that wingspan. Good, get ready to come on up. Draw those abdominals in, and let's lift. Good, carefully adjust your feet, and step back together. Okay, same setup against the wall. We're gonna work with side angle. So edge of that foot, nice and snug into the wall. This time we need to jump out a little further. So we're gonna work with a lunge, so we want a longer stride. Staying strong into the wall, bend this front knee, and we want that knee to track straight. So if you think of pressing your thigh open, that'll help maintain that alignment in the knee rather than dropping it ahead. Okay, so press the thigh open. We're gonna reach the arm up, stay grounded into the wall, lift up through the abdominals, and stretch over that front leg. Now we can drop the elbow here, keeping that shoulder long away from the ear, or we can reach for the floor. Okay, so you pick what feels good for you. And we're going to take this top arm, couple of options again, either straight up to the sky, or if you can, sweep it overhead. So as I reach overhead, I'm not collapsing my shoulder into my ear, but I want to tug both shoulders away from the ears, necks are long. Again, pull the hips underneath, use your abdominals, and open up that top shoulder. Couple good breaths, we're still anchored into the wall, pressing through that back foot. Okay, let's inhale, exhale, lift. Toes forward. And step together. Okay, give it a go on the other side. Edge of that foot into the wall. Jumping our front foot out a little further than we think, so on a long stride. Again, setting ourselves up into the lunge. You're going to engage those hip rotators, so use the muscles in your bum to push that thigh open. Okay, upper body's gonna stay open. Take that front arm up. Stretch over the front leg. Remember, we can have our elbow on the thigh, or you can take your hand to the floor. And then the options again, top arm up, or straight overhead. So you're making this massive line of energy from grounding through the wall, reaching along the spine, and out that top arm. If your arm is on the floor, it's nice to ground into your arm with your outer thigh. So press that thigh open. Breathing. And sweeping it up. Toes forward. Let's step together. All right. Next few poses, we're going to face the short end of our mat. So our backs are going to be towards the wall. So let's try warrior one. So we're going to take our left heel up the wall, and then once again we want a lunge position. So we're going to really jump that front leg out. If we have our foot too close, you might end up really pushing the knee forward, and that can create like a shearing action on the front of the knee. So get yourself in a nice long stride. Continue to ground through those heels in the back into the wall, hips are square, and then we're gonna lunge. So you have control of the depth of this lunge. You can stay up a little higher, or you can sink it down. The deeper you go, the longer of a stride you'll need to take to maintain that alignment in the knee. Okay, so we're gonna tuck that tailbone, pull the abdominals in, and let's sweep those arms up. If your back is uncomfortable here with the arms overhead, go ahead and keep them down on your hips. Okay, so just take a few breaths. We're stretching long through the arms, but once again, pull your shoulders away from your ears. Breathing in and out. If your neck is comfortable, try looking up. Nice full breaths. And then we're going to step forward. So really important with these standing poses, come in and out of the poses as you need. If something again doesn't feel right, or if you're fatiguing, just come out of the pose early. Other side. We're going to jump that other foot forward. back heel into the wall so that back leg is straight. Hips are square, we're gonna lunge down. Long enough step forward so our knees not pushing way over top. And then again, we can reach up. Sink those hips down, open up the heart. Your gaze can stay focused straight out in front, or we can lift up. Feel that breath moving, feel the energy moving through the body as you ground through that back heel and extend up through the arms. So both legs are going to be straight for this one. We're going to take our left foot, slide it back into the wall so it's not raised up this time, your foot is flat. And then the other foot's going to step forward. So not as long of a stride as that warrior one. We're going to square through the hips. And then let's start to bring our arms around. And you can either bring your hands to your hips, to the back of the hips, so you get a little bit of opening through the chest. Or we can reach around, wrap up those arms behind us. So the pose is called open heart, so we want to make sure to keep our heart open. As you come forward, you might start to fall into that hunch position. So really work to externally rotate those shoulders open. Big breath in, maybe a bit of a back bend, and then we're going to tip the pelvis forward. Pause there in that halfway lift. So a couple things to check out. We want hips level, so careful you're not twisting open. Hips nice and level. And we're going to draw the chin in, a little bit of a head nod. So I'm not tucking my chin under. It's just a little bit of a head nod, chin in, back of the neck long. Now we can stay here in this halfway lift position. Don't be afraid to support with your arms. If you're comfortable, extend a little further, scoop those abdominals in, and fold over. Now, even as I fold over, I'm continuing to open up through the shoulders, open up through the heart, pushing into both feet, and lifting those sit bones up and out behind. Let's take a couple more breaths, but relax our arms. So your arms could rest on your leg, down on your foot or the floor. Just don't push on your knee. And just let that head hang. A couple good breaths. And then we'll bend that front knee, step the back foot ahead, and let's unroll. Gently take that head upright. Okay, other side. So switch feet. Again, that back foot is flat. Take the other foot forward. Hips nice and square. Take the arms around. Remember, hands can go on hips. They can rest on the back of the hips. Wrap up behind. Some of you might be familiar with reverse namaste with the palms together behind you. So any of those options. Inhale, let's open the heart. And tip the pelvis forward. Kind of play a little bit in that halfway lift position, working the hips into alignment, stretching our legs, finding the alignment through the head and neck. So draw the chin in, extend along through that spine. Breathing deeply. You may choose to stay here. If your body's comfortable, fold over. And as you create that fold, just be careful you're not pushing your belly out. But we're extending that spine forward. Okay, let's release our arms. Bend the front knee and unroll. All right, moving on to some balancing poses. So we'll have some options with and without the use of the wall as a prop. So let's get started. So for tree pose, we can either face sideways so that we have the wall there to catch if we find we're losing our balance. Another nice option is with the wall completely supporting the back of your body. So you can kind of lean right into the wall as you balance on one leg. And then another good way to use the wall is as a gaze point. So you can stand fairly close to the wall so that that gaze point is right in front of you. Sometimes people get distracted when they're looking across the room at a gaze point because there's so many distractions around. So if you find that's an issue for you, just turn and face the wall. Okay, let's give it a go. I'm gonna just try it without the wall, but for sure pick the option that feels best for you. Okay, so we're gonna ground into our feet. Think of growing roots through those feet, pressing down through the balls of the feet, the sides of the heels, and then stacking up our hips, our shoulders, and our head all in line. So try not to kind of slouch forward or drop your head forward, but press into those feet and feel everything just lengthen out into alignment. Okay, so working with that gaze point is really important. So take a gaze at something ahead of you that's not going to move. Try not to look at something moving. And then whenever you're ready, we're going to pick up one leg. Think of rotating inside that hip socket to press the thigh open. And you can keep your foot close to the floor so you even have your toes for a bit of balance. If you're feeling comfortable, bring that foot up and rest it either below or above your knee. So just try not to push that foot into the side of your standing knee. And we want to stay strong through that standing leg. So again, root down through the foot and really engage all the way up that leg, even across this outer hip. So careful not to like slouch into that hip. We're going to push the bottom of our foot into our leg and feel that thigh rotate open without turning our hips. So hips are going to stay forward, press that thigh open, and hands can remain at your heart, or you can reach up. You can tap onto that wall if you need a little bit of balance, but ground through that standing foot, draw the abdominals in, and lengthen up along the spine and through those arms. Okay, let's take the hands back to the heart. Lean forward and step down. Okay, shake out that standing leg. And once again, grow roots through those feet. Stack up all the joints. Take a couple calming breaths. Find a good gaze point. Balancing poses are great for challenging our mental focus. And then we're going to pick up the other leg when you're ready. Roll that thigh open. So again, you're feeling the rotation in that hip socket. So your hips aren't turning, they're staying forward and neutral. Use the strength through the abdominals to stay nice and engaged through the core. And pick your position with that bottom foot. Keep breathing. Hands at the heart or reaching up. Grounding and extending. Good, let's release. Lean forward and step down. Okay, shake it out. Okay, we're gonna try a dancer's pose. Sometimes we call this rocket pose. So the big key with this is to think of reaching up and not tipping forward. So we're gonna use the wall. So when we use the wall in this case, we're gonna come nice and close. And let's take the opposite arm of the leg we're gonna lift and reach it up the wall. And then we're gonna pick up that standing leg. You could loop like a yoga strap, or if you have a necktie, you could loop it around your ankle. You can even use a towel. But if you can, grab your foot. And then we're gonna have our knees to start side by side and really work on tucking that tailbone under. So it's like kind of a regular quadricep stretch. But from here, we're gonna open the shoulders, start taking this foot and kicking it away from your bum and out behind you. So this is where people sometimes start to tip forward, but that's a different pose. We wanna kick the foot behind, but keep reaching up the wall. So you can take this hand and creep it up the wall, maybe even look up. So we're not turning our hips open, hips are nice and square. Okay, let's release and step down. Try that on the other side. Ground through the feet. Opposite arm comes up. Bend that opposite foot. Catch it with a strap or your hand. We're going to tuck that tailbone under. Start kicking the foot out behind and then sliding the top hand up the wall. Couple good breaths there. Good, gently release and step down. Okay, let's move on to a pigeon pose. So pigeon pose, we're going to come down onto the floor, and this is a variation of king pigeon. So with king pigeon, our back leg is going to be bent as well as the front. So let's take our left leg, slide our knee back right into the wall so your shin rides up the wall. So you're going to take that knee, slide it all the way back, and then our front knee is going to split forward. So we're going to take that knee ahead as far as we're comfortable. And to start the first few breaths, let's ground into our hands and really open the chest and open the heart. So you're tucking the tailbone down and opening up through that chest. And just breathe deeply here. So you might be getting a big stretch through that hip flexor of the leg that's reaching behind. So next we're going to lay forward and shift the stretch more into the glutes of the front leg. So the muscles in the butt of that front leg. So let's extend forward. And you can support yourself on your hands, your elbows, or lay right down. Just try not to tip yourself over onto your side. Keep those hips up in the center. Locking those hands in. Now to come away from the wall, you can go ahead and come away however feels good for you. I like to curl my toes under, push off that back foot, and walk my hands forward. Okay, but you can come out however feels good for you. So now I need to walk back and get my other knee up against the wall and let my shin ride up the wall. My front knee again is going to split forward. So my hips are going to come down, and I'm going to press into my arms and try and open my heart. So breathing deeply, head in line with the spine, breath flowing. Always have to remind ourselves to keep that breath moving. As soon as the pose gets challenging, we tend to want to hold our breath. So just gently breathe in and out. Let's lay forward. Remember, we can settle right down. Just trying not to tip over to the side. Keep those hips up in the middle. Those hands in. Again, come away however feels good for you, or you can try that curling your toes under, push through the back foot to walk your hands forward. Good. Our closing sequence. So we're going to come into a nice gentle inversion with legs up the wall. So just come over to your wall. And a little trick to end up nice and close against the wall is to actually start seated sideways with your hips snug up against the wall. And then notice how I'm sitting quite close to the edge of my mat. Like my bum's not back here in the middle, but I'm scooted forward towards the edge of the mat. So that way, when I lay down and swing my legs up, I roll onto the mat instead of off of it. So you're just gonna swing those legs up, and then you'll end up with your bum nice and close so that you don't have to bum scoot in towards the wall. So the first few breaths, I'm just focusing on settling the back of that pelvis down into the floor. So sometimes if we're a little tight through the hamstrings, the bum will kind of ride up the wall like this. So instead, think of laying your tailbone down on the floor and creating those deep, deep creases in the front of the hips. Now, if that's pulling too much on your hamstrings, that's when you'll just bum scoot back away from the wall a bit, so you give yourself a bit more of an angle in your legs. So you can just rest here, enjoying that gentle inversion, either with your hands on the belly if that helps you draw the breath a little deeper into your lungs. Or a nice option is just arms by your sides and letting those shoulders roll open. So if you turn your palms up, that encourages your shoulders to roll open rather than rolling in with the palms down. So very gentle inversion. Inversions are great for our immune system. Great for moving some lymph through the lymphatic system as well. And just a nice calming pose. So you can stay here a little longer if you like, but when you're ready to come out, we're going to bend our knees. Just let yourself roll to the side, and then use those arms to push yourself up to seated. So to get ourselves positioned for the next couple poses, we're going to move away from the wall, far enough that you can stretch your legs out without your feet touching the wall. So you want to be a good distance away from the wall. Then we're going to lay back. And we're going to start with a twist. So let's lay back, open those arms out to the sides, and pick up those legs and let them roll to the right. So go ahead and let your legs come completely down onto the floor. So even if your back shoulder needs to lift up a bit, you could start with this top arm bent, and then as your shoulder opens up behind you, if you feel like everything's feeling comfortable in that joint, you can try reaching out through your arm. But let your legs come completely over and then just gently relax open as far as your range of motion lets you do that comfortably. So it's good to have a bit of a stretch, but just don't force it. And we're going to use our breathing in and out through the nose. And just let gravity gently twist you further and further through that range of motion. Nice stretch for the spine, big stretch for the obliques, the sides of those abdominals. Also probably getting a good stretch across the hip, and then definitely through the chest and the front of the shoulder as you stretch through the arm, maybe down through that bicep as well. Okay, coming out of the pose, pull the abdominals in, pick up those knees, and gently lower them over to the other side. Again, we're going to let the hips lift up so that the knees come down, so you want those hips to turn completely over. Upper body can tip with you, and then as you start to work on the twist, let that back shoulder rest open more and more. And if that leverage feels okay on your shoulder, stretch through your arm. So again, deep breaths. We've got our hips turned over in one direction, chest and heart opening up towards the sky. Draw the abdominals in, pick up those knees. And from here, let's come into a knees to the chest. So hugging our knees into the chest. If that feels uncomfortable on your knees to grab around your shins, you can also grab from behind your thighs this way. But we're gonna hug those knees in. And you can either stay centered, or it's nice to do a little rock from side to side. You get a little bit of a massage through the back, stimulate those organs towards the back of the body. So just gently rocking. But if that feels uncomfortable on your spine, just omit the rock and stay centered. Once we are settled back into the center again, we're going to move into Shavasana, or relaxation pose. So stepping our feet down, slide your legs out. Now I kind of haven't given myself enough room, so I'm just going to back up a bit so that when I stretch out my legs, my feet are totally free, because I want to be able just to flop my feet and my knees open, so I'm totally relaxed from those hips. So if your feet are getting hung up on the wall, just back up a little bit. From there, we're going to roll our shoulders open. So it helps to turn your palms up. And you can either rest there, or if you want to encourage the gentle but deep breathing, you might want to have your hands on your belly and really notice that belly rise and fall with each breath. So as you inhale, feel the belly inflate. And then as you exhale, feel that belly draw in. So either hands on the belly or down by the sides with the palms turned up. Now we can stay here for 5, 10, 15 minutes. Not used to laying still, a nice way to start is to count your breath, so it kind of gives you something to focus on, and you could count about 25 gentle deep breaths. And then once you're ready to come out of the pose, you could start moving your hands and your feet a little bit. Take your time to bend your knees, and then rolling onto the side. It can be helpful to take that right arm up overhead and then roll over so that your head rests on your arm. And from there, we would push into our hands and come on up to seated. So taking any seated position with that spine up tall and the chest and the heart open. We'll bring those hands to the heart. We like to finish our yoga sessions with a greeting that means the light in me